Many couples live life right up to the edge, cramming as many activities as they possibly can right into their 18-hour days. Why? Because we don't intentionally pursue margin in our schedules.
And it's you and me, babe, whatever comes. Knowing bigger hands are holding ours, and the greatest days are ahead of us. Growing in love, learning to be a better us.
Hi, welcome to A Better Us.
It's great to have you in our home for the next 30 minutes.
Do you ever feel like your life is so jam-packed that you don't have time for the things that really matter?
Dr. Mike's on the beach, and he's going to help us by giving some practical tips on how we can create margin in our marriage. You know, that buffer zone, that breathing space that we all need.
Also, Dr. Grant Mullen will talk about a kind of baggage many of us bring into marriage, the shame from our past.
Yeah.
It causes us to live in fear, to wear a mask, and that isolates us from the most important person in our lives, our spouse.
Dr. Mullen will help us not only understand shame, but more importantly, he'll tell us how to get rid of it.
And here to help us unpack all of that, we have our kitchen couples, CFL football great Mike Pinball Clemens and his wife Diane, and recording artist Dan McCauley and his wife Danielle.
It's going to be a good conversation, so stay with us.
Have you ever noticed that having just a little extra space in your life, a little extra margin, is always more comfortable than living life right up to the edge? Think about it. This is true in multiple areas of our life, like our financial life. Life is just more comfortable when you have space in your budget, when you aren't living right up to the edge of income every month trying to pay your bills. Correct? Think about your relationships. We love margin in our relationships. Have you ever asked someone for more space in your dating relationship? I need space. I need you to give me space. That's because relationships can start to feel smothering if we don't have margin built into them. Although we need margin in lots of different areas of our lives, marriages that are stressed out tend to have very little margin, particularly in their schedule. So if you're a stressed out couple, you probably don't have much space or time to experience the breathing room that we all crave. Many couples live life right up to the edge, cramming as many activities as they possibly can right into their 18-hour days. Why? Because we don't intentionally pursue margin in our schedules. The extra space that will give us the time to breathe and chill out and relax together. So if you want to live a less stressed marriage, it's imperative that you put more margin right into your life as a couple together. I'm going to give you two principles that you can use to master the experience of margin in your marriage. You ready? Number one, maintain your priorities. One reason it's so difficult to create margin in our schedules is that we don't have a true sense of what's really vitally important to us as a couple. Most people, they understand this intuitively, like they know on some level they keep overcommitting themselves and they keep doing too much, but in the process they destroy any chance they have at actually experiencing margin in their schedules. So in order to have that margin that we all want, you've got to set clear priorities. You have to learn how to keep the main thing the main thing. So I want you to ask yourself, what's most important? What do we value most in our life as a couple? And if you can determine the 3 or 4 most important things in your life, then you're in a position to start experiencing some margin. Is this easy? Look, absolutely not. I'm not going to pretend it's easy, but there's got to be ways that as a couple you can create this comfort zone in your schedule and give yourself a chance to focus on what is absolutely essential. Only then will you be able to fill your life with a reasonable number of activities and experience the lasting peace that God has for us, that He wants us to all live in. Now, the second thing you can do if you want to create this margin in your marriage is you can learn to say no. It will be impossible to maintain these new priorities that you've created if you don't allow yourself to say this one special, incredible, awesome little word, no. No excuses, no rain checks, no babbling about when you might be able to do it or fit it in, just plain no.
Margin in marriage. Thanks, Dr. Mike, for pointing that out. That is so important. We have another Mike here, Mike and Diane, pinball. Good to have you guys with us, and Dan and Danielle. And so we need to talk about this whole margin thing. It's an important way to relieve stress, that's for sure.
You know, we all need breathing room, don't we? We just operate better when there's not that immediate stress constantly on top of us. And the same thing is true in your marriage. You just have to have that breathing space where the two of you can just exhale at the same time together. And a lot of that comes from saying no to other people.
No one wants to say anything. Because we're all guilty.
It feels like you just punched me. It's right in the gut. All the air went out.
We're all guilty.
We're really glad, Mike and Diane, that you said yes when we asked you to be part of the Better Us program.
Oh, right. You know, as a coach, one of the things I told our guys, you know, one of the secrets to happiness in life is learning to live below your means, right? It's creating that margin, creating that space. And as Dr. Mike so eloquently, he's so awesome, right? Just kind of express, it's important to have that breathing room in all portions of our life. And so I can't say no, you know, and I've learned to do it a lot better.
You're better.
Yeah, so much better. But what we did before I learned to say no is we began to schedule our family in first, right? Yes. So before the year started, we would schedule in 2 vacations, right? So 4 weeks away, so 2 2-week vacations, 4 weeks just family, just us, right? So prioritizing that, making that a real issue. We also took time to have vacations alone. So in November, right, because our kids are older now, we're going to have a week, the first week of November, right? We're going to speak somewhere, but we're going to go in a tropical area. We'll spend it's usually more like a couple of days we'll get away together, but I think this may be our, well, no, not our longest, because our anniversary was that, but one of our longest times away together, 7 days away with, you know, just the two of us. So doing that and prioritizing that really, Dr. Mike, yes, so great insight.
You're maintaining priorities, like he said.
Yes.
And because we can say yes to so many good things, but not everything. When you pile all those good things on, it doesn't end up being so good for us, right?
And if you remember, even in the Bible, I think it's Luke where it talks about where Jesus, he just went away. He took time. He took himself away from people, from his ministry, and he just went and had quiet time.
Even he needed rest.
Okay? So if he needed to do that, of course we need to do that. So we need to remember that. It's okay to just get away.
Yeah.
It's biblical in many areas, like the whole idea of a Sabbath is to have, you know, every week you got to have a day of rest, because that's called margin right there. And in marriage you got to have that as well. And there's so many you know, applications I can just picture. Like if I pick up a book and I open it up and I see it's really text heavy, and it's all the way to the edge of the pages, and there's no space between the lines. You go, oh man, that's too heavy.
It's overwhelming. Right?
But then you pick another one up and it's got the huge margins, and there's like short paragraphs. Okay, you got breathing space for your eyes.
On your cell phone.
And you almost just relax just looking at the page. But you got to have that margin also in your relationships, and not be too jam-packed with everything else.
And I like what Danielle said, because there's so many good things that we could say yes to. We were talking to a young couple a while back, and they were telling us, there's so many things that we have in our minds. We're just trying to think of there's possibility here, a possibility there, and what do we do, and where we just don't know where to go and what to do. And we said to them, you know what? Quite often, the good can be the enemy of the best. Because it's all good, but you've got to
right.
pick the best.
Yes.
You've got to say, okay, what is the best? What is God's best in my life? What is the best thing that God has given me in my life? And then
thank
focus.
you.
Yeah, I did. I did. And then focus on that, because all the other stuff is good.
Yes.
But this is the best. And so
Yeah.
this has to be top priority. God, of course, is first, always. But then your spouse has to be right, after that. And then anything that comes before him is not the best. It's good, but it's not the best.
I found something that I want to share if I could. It says, as Christians, our identity hinges not on what we do, but on what Christ has done for us. Then it says, check your heart. Are you finding your worth in a busy calendar and people depending on you? It may be time to reevaluate why you're so busy. Ask God to help you move away from glorifying in your busyness and instead toward glorifying in his rest.
Nice.
That's good.
Yeah, it comes at a cost, we don't naturally, we want peace. I think there's a verse in Proverbs that says, those who promote peace find joy. And that's the kind of home I want to have. That's the kind of marriage I want to have. If we're busy because we're trying to keep up with the Joneses or please other people, we're not going to find time for us to have peace and rest and fun in our own marriage, because we'll just be doing all those other things.
And that's where the priorities come in place, because just like this cup, there's only almost so many things I could fit in this. I gotta fill this cup with jelly beans. I can only squeeze so many jelly beans down in there before it gets too full. And in order to make room for your spouse or to make room for God, sometimes it means removing some things. And so sometimes saying yes to the right things means saying no to some things that are lesser. You got to decide what those lesser things are. So in order to have more of God in our lives, we have to take out some things and make room for Him. It's easy to say, I have no time I can't spend an hour of devotions or 15 minutes in devotions or spend 10 minutes talking to my wife or whatever, but I managed to binge watch XYZ show on Netflix somehow. Maybe my priorities are a little off.
You will always find time for what's important to you. You will always find time for that.
Mike was saying, schedule those priorities first in your calendar.
Yeah.
Because when you put the big priorities first inside, then it leaves less room for the other things that just kind of take up your day and get busy. But put margin on the calendar, basically. Wow, this is good stuff. It's good stuff. Well, don't go away. We've got more coming up with A Better Us.
All those lies that you believe tell you that if you let down your mask, your spouse will see what you're really like. They'll be so horrified, you'll be rejected and divorced.
Hi, we hope you're enjoying the show.
Our vision at A Better Us is to see every marriage become a loving union that creates a safe family haven, building a legacy of hope for future generations.
That's why we feel it's so important to invest in marriage relationships through producing a new episode of A Better Us every week.
Absolutely. If you feel as we do that marriages are worth investing in, then please consider joining us as a member of A Better Us with a monthly donation of $25.
You'll be making a big difference in lives and families, and we'll send you 2 of our special mugs, the mugs that you see our kitchen couples using each program.
Absolutely. And be sure to send us your mugshot selfie, and we'll post it on our Facebook page and on our website.
Simply visit abetterus.tv and click Donate to set up your automatic monthly giving. God bless you, and thank you so much for making this program possible and helping us strengthen marriages.
So we can all become a better us.
Today I want to talk about another type of emotional baggage that can drive a wedge into your marriage. It's a very common problem, but no one talks about it. It's the problem of shame and how it damages relationships. I know, you're wondering, what am I talking about? Shame is the deep-seated belief that you're defective. There's something wrong with you, and you need to hide so no one sees what you're really like. Because if they did, they wouldn't like you, and they would reject you. And when you feel this way, you will do anything to prevent people from discovering the real you. Shame usually starts in childhood. If your parents struggled with shame and felt defective, they would likely make you feel defective through shaming criticism. They might say things like, "You're stupid, you're weak, you'll never amount to anything, I'm ashamed of you." And then when you start school, a teacher might make an offhand comment that makes you think you're not very smart or don't have what it takes to succeed. You may be bullied at school, which makes you feel even more defective and rejected. So you grow up feeling that there's something wrong with you, you're not as good as everyone else, and you have something to hide. If people really knew you, they wouldn't like you. Every time you were shamed, it caused emotional pain. When you were in pain, especially as an impressionable child, Satan came and filled you with shaming lies like, "You're defective, you aren't as good as everyone else, you're a loser, no one likes you, you need to stay hidden so no one sees what you're really like." All these painful memories and lies are then stored in your emotional baggage, where they can be kept active your entire adult life. That way, Satan has easily available ammunition to throw at you, to keep you in pain and to keep you feeling bad about yourself. To cope with the pain of shame and defectiveness, we wear masks. A mask is a false self that we think people will like, so no one will really know what we're really like. We pretend to be someone else, so our defective self can stay hidden. This mask becomes a huge problem in marriage. You see, you created the mask to make you acceptable or attractive so someone would marry you. But once you're married, you can't let your mask down. All those lies that you believe tell you that if you let down your mask, your spouse will see what you're really like. They'll be so horrified, you'll be rejected and divorced. So that keeps you tense, fearful, and defensive. It causes confusion for your spouse, since it's not easy to be married to a mask. Every time they try to reach the real you, you back off in fear and live behind high emotional walls. Another defense from the pain of shame is to become domineering and intimidating. That way, people are kept at a safe distance. Blaming other people for your weaknesses is another defense mechanism because it's too painful to admit you have flaws, so pin them on someone else. These behaviors prevent true intimacy in marriage and just create tension out of your fears of rejection. Jesus wants to heal your heart so you don't have to live behind the mask any longer. Jesus wants to heal all the wounds in your past where you were shamed. He wants to replace all those shaming lies that you believed about yourself and replace them with the truth of how He feels about you. He thinks you're amazing. He loves you. You are His pearl of great price. He gave His life for you. He wants you to remember that He lives inside you, and that makes you complete and lovable. He wants to shine out through you, and that's nothing to be ashamed of. Don't hide Him with a mask. Don't let shame damage your life and marriage any longer. Jesus is waiting to heal you. So will you let Him? A counselor can help you walk through this healing journey so you can throw away your mask and be your true and unique self. Your husband or wife will thank you.
We're back in the kitchen with Mike and Diane and Dan and Danielle. And it's a kind of a heavy topic from Dr. Mullen there, but it's so important to talk about because we all deal with shame in different ways, one way or another. And you know, I heard Jimmy Evans once said, another marriage expert that we featured on the show here before, the devil wraps fear and shame around our pain, so we'll keep it in the darkness, and it hurts too much. We're ashamed of it, and we keep it secrecy, and we have that mask, and it just makes for not a very good relationship.
Dr. Mullen talks a lot about the baggage we bring into marriage and the things that we really should be dealing with. And if we bring shame into our marriage, then that kind of isolates us from our spouse. And really, this is the person that we should be unpacking our baggage with in a very safe way. But shame keeps us isolated from Him. And so that's something that's really important to get it out in the open. And I think when you reveal what you're ashamed of, you find it's not as bad as you thought it was.
Well, he said we all wear masks. We walk around pretending a lot of the time that we're okay and all of that. But in marriage, that's not going to happen, right? The masks come off. They see us real, raw, flawed. And actually, I think marriage is the perfect place if we have that safe place, unconditional love, and they create a safe atmosphere for us to become vulnerable and heal and become whole. Because if we can tell our story and they see us for who we really are, that's how we heal. And I know vulnerability diffuses shame. Shame doesn't want us to tell our story and to be vulnerable. So it's a great place for us to heal.
Yeah, you were saying how our shame makes us want to keep our flaws in the dark, whereas God instead invites us to bring them into His light and to let them be healed there. But too often, we are just the same as Adam and Eve were in the garden. They mess up. What do? They go and hide behind some bushes as if that's going to work. But instead, we need to understand that we are invited to just come to Him. The Bible says that we can boldly come into His throne room of mercy and grace to find grace and mercy to help us in our time of need. And yet, right at the point, so often when we're most in need of mercy and most in need of grace, we feel like I can't go. So I always encourage people as I'm leading worship or speaking on this kind of subject is to run to Him, not from Him. I'll run to Him. He accepts us the way we are. We can take the mask off, give Him the real you, and let Him heal you. As a songwriter, I've written some songs over the years, and one of the ones that I get the most feedback and emails and stuff back is one called Amazing, and specifically about a line in there that says, you know everything and you still love me. The idea that we could be fully known, all the deepest, darkest corners and crevices of our lives, and have someone still actually love us, and that is the love that we are extended in Jesus.
And that's what we can give our spouse is
with God's help. Yeah.
It's like we're made from the, Mike tells this story when he talked to young people about how we're made in the image of the baddest dude in the world. Like we're made in God's image.
By bad, we mean good.
Bad, we mean good.
Yes.
Yeah, he's a bad dude.
The baddest dude in the world.
He's a bad dude, right? And we're made in His image.
Yeah.
So it's like, there's no shame. There should be no shame. There should be no guilt about anything, because He took time to mold us and make us in His image. And by that, we should know that whatever we're going through, that He's there. He's got us, right?
Yeah. In Romans it says, "For all have sinned and come short of the glory of God," and it's amazing. I love your illustrations all the time, but it's amazing how we can know that everybody has flaws.
Yeah.
But somehow we feel that our flaws are magnified, right? When the world sees ours, they're bigger than everybody else's. You're the flaw monster, right? and somehow we can't find the humility to understand that our greatness, our excellence is in something greater than our flaws, right? It is in Christ, and that's how we're made whole. That's how we're made complete. And so just want to just encourage listeners that shame, if in reality, if we looked at it, right, we all have shame because we mess up, right? But we based on that concept of all being challenged and all being messed up, right? Our greatness is that we can take something so imperfect and make it perfect through love, right? So that's what makes it love, is actually, be it loving other people and having that joy in your heart.
I love the old invitation hymn in the Billy Graham concerts and crusades through the years, where it just says, "Just as I am," without one plea. And so it's just as and then people flock to the altar because they realize that's what's missing. And I've been feeling shame. I've been feeling bad about myself, and I need that forgiveness of God to come to Him. He's saying, "Come just as you are," and I'll do that, because our greatest need as humans is this idea of acceptance. Can I really be accepted for who I am? And God absolutely does that. And then when you get married, ideally, if we're exhibiting the kind of love in marriage that God asks us to have in His Word, it's that similar kind of love that God has, that unconditional, agape love. that yes, I do accept you, even if you take off the mask, you know, it's okay, we'll work through these things together, and I still love you no matter what you've done. And that's so freeing, isn't it?
Well, that's what I was trying to say.
It's all good stuff.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's been a good conversation. We're so glad you've joined us for that. Don't go anywhere. Stay tuned, because there's more A Better Us to come.
Missed an episode of A Better Us? No problem. Visit abetterus.tv and click Watch, where you can enjoy past episodes and even share them with your friends. Each episode is packed with practical advice to help you and your relationship become a better us. While you're there, click subscribe to receive your free weekly Marriage Moment email. Also like us on Facebook to receive program previews, news about upcoming events, and inspirational quotes. Be sure to follow us on Twitter and Instagram.
In each episode of A Better Us, we hear from top relationship experts, and we encourage you to go deeper through their resources, which are available at our online store.
Like this book, Emotionally Free by mental health physician Dr. Grant Mullen. He shows you how to be transformed in body, soul, and spirit, discovering a freedom you never knew was possible.
And how to overcome serious issues like depression, anxiety, and mood swings.
It will definitely be a gift for your marriage.
To order your copy, visit abetterus.tv.
You know, we hear a lot about date nights, right? You should have a date night if you're a married couple. Don't quit dating. And there's great truth and actually incredible research behind
just
that.
in the ritual of that. But there's even better truth available, because when we take that to the next level, when we cultivate adventures together, just novel experiences, it doesn't have to be, you know, some grand trip, just something out of our zone.
But that's the word, novel, right?
Yes.
Because it's easy to kind of get in a rut, you know, we go to a movie and dinner, and that kind of becomes our date night. Nothing wrong with that, but here's what research has found. When you begin to do novel things that you don't typically do on your date night, it kind of brings this new shower of neurochemicals into your brain the same way it did when you were first falling in love.
Which I love, because you get to cultivate that together through shared adventure. We had an experience on the flying trapeze, and I'm telling you, that was a chemical experience.
That was a date night we had a little while ago. We had lessons for flying trapeze. Well, that was
the one and only time. But I will say, you feel so bonded, so connected, and it brings a spirit of aliveness and joy into your relationship.
Today we've covered a couple of crucial topics in marriage. One of them is creating margin.
Dr. Mike gave us some practical ways we can all create that much needed buffer zone in our marriages.
Where we can breathe as a couple.
And that involves learning to say no to some things and yes to others based on our priorities.
And it's keeping those priorities clear that a lot of us struggle with. But if we could just set them in stone, God, spouse, kids, it's a good start in keeping healthy margins.
And we also talked about the kind of baggage many of us bring into marriage, shame from our past, a secret fear that if we were truly known, we wouldn't be genuinely loved.
So often we hide behind masks of what we think our spouse wants to see, and that becomes a barrier to true intimacy. It's a barrier that keeps us isolated from each other, and more importantly, it keeps us away from God.
Right. As Dr. Mullen said, Jesus wants to heal all the wounds in your past, to heal your heart, to replace the lies and the shame you feel with His truth, how He sees you. You are precious to Him.
Sometimes that means seeing a counselor to help walk you through steps to healing. I've done that before, and there is no shame in seeking help.
And the best place to begin is with prayer. If you'd like someone to pray with you about anything going on in your life, our prayer line is on the screen, and why not give us a call? The number's available to you 24 hours a day and 7 days a week.
Reaching out to God is the best first step any of us can take toward full inner healing, and your us being the best it can be.
Thanks again for stopping by, and remember, with God there is always hope to become a better us. Hey guys, if you've enjoyed the show, we'd love to hear from you.
You can visit our website at abetterus.tv and like us on Facebook to receive updates, marriage tips, photos, behind-the-scenes videos, and lots more.
And don't forget to sign up for your free weekly Marriage Moment email, all right?
Also, your support helps to make the production of A Better Us possible and helps to strengthen other couples in their journey after I do.
So to help out, just click the donate button on our website. And thank you so much, and we'll see you next time.